Shalom, shalom. It's Azariah giving our honor and glory to Yahweh by Shem HaMashiach Yahweh Shai. Today's topic I want to go over is having a good name. All right, how important it is to have a good name. Right, like you see, for example, our forefathers, our foremothers, in the scriptures. You see a lot of good things that you could read about them. Right, then you got some of our forefathers or foremothers, having a bad name. Right, and you see all the bad things they read about them. So it's a good thing to have a good name, because you want people to talk good about you, right? Every time your name is mentioned around others, you want to be like, oh yeah, that brother had a good spirit. It was no fault found in them, right? So that's how good it is to have a good name, right? You don't want brothers to speak about you, and it's nothing but bad things, right? Nothing but slanderous words, brothers talking bad about you, and it be true, right? So you don't want to have a bad name like Judas Iscariot. It's a bad name, right? Yahweh Shai is a good name. Moses is a good name, right? All the prophets and disciples are good names, right? So for example, let's just kick it off, right? Let's start with Ecclesiastes chapter 7 verse 1, right? It reads this: a good name is better than precious ointment. Right, so a good name is better than precious ointment. It's better than any type of perfume, smell goods, cologne. It's better than those things, right? It said, and the day of death than the day of one's birth. Right, so a good name is better than anything. It's better than someone's birth. Right, it's good. It's better than anything really. You can't put anything above a good name. Right. Let me get some more precepts on it. Let's go to Proverbs chapter 22, verse 1. All right, it said, a good name is rather to be chosen than great riches. Right, so you want your name to be chosen than having great riches, right? You rather choose to have a good name than wealth, right? So you want your name to be chosen. Right, it said, and love and favor rather than silver and gold. Right, so that's how bad, that's how good your name. That's how good you want your name to be chosen. You want a good name to be chosen, above rubies, wealth, money, cars, clothes, jewelry, right? All that is just vanity, but your name, it can endure forever, right? Let's go to Sirach chapter 41 and 13. Sirach and Apocrypha chapter 41 and verse 13. It said, a good life have but few years. It said, a good life have but few days, but a good name endure forever. Right? So a person can live 30 years, 70 years, 80 years. He could die in his teens, 20 years. It's only but a few days, a few years. But your name, what you did, how you, how wisely you walk, right? Those things could last forever, right? A good name, somebody will always have something good to say about you, right? Bad name, people just going to be, it's just going to forget about you, right? It's going to be nothing but bad things, right? So from there, let's go to Ecclesiastes chapter 6 and verse 3. It reads, if a man beget 100 children and live many years, so that the days of his years be many, and his soul be not filled with good. So a man can have many things, right? He can live many years. He can have 100 children. It said, but his soul be not filled with good. So it's just nothing but bad things. You just doing, you just doing a whole bunch of bad things, not having a good report, everything you do, somebody like, hey bro, what are you doing? Somebody always, try to get up on you because you're doing something stupid, right? It says, and his days, and his soul be not filled with good, and also that he have no burial. So that, look, when you die, no one don't you want to bury you because people don't like you, right? It say, I say that I say that an untimely birth is better than he. Right? So having a bad name is just bad, you know. No one cares for you. Right? When you have a bad name like Judas Iscariot, you know, people don't really care for you that much. Your name is barely mentioned, and every time it is mentioned, it's nothing good. Right? It's nothing good about it. But let's look at some examples of how our forefathers, how they walked, you know, and how good that name was, you know, amongst people. Right? From let's go to Daniel, the 6th chapter, the book of Daniel, chapter 6, and verse 3. Daniel 6 and 3, it says, then this Daniel was preferred above the president and prince because excellent spirit was in him. So you want people to look at you like, yo, that brother got an excellent spirit, right? That brother always walking in wisdom, right? It's nothing I can bring up against that brother. You know, you want people to walk to see you and like, oh, that brother got excellent spirit. Like he always smiling, you know, his content is always glowing, right? It's no defile in him, no fault in him, right? That's how Daniel was walking, right? It said, I'm reading it again. It said, then this Daniel was preferred above the president and prince because an excellent spirit was in him. So Daniel, he was chosen above the presidents, right, and princes because he was walking with an excellent spirit. It said, and the king's thought to set him over the whole realm. Then the president and princes sought to find occasion against Daniel. Now they got the presidents. You know, this was Daniel was in Babylon in captivity. You know, even in captivity, you know, your name could be exalted because you have a good spirit. Right, so that's something to think about. I said, then the president and princes sought to find occasion against Daniel concerning the kingdom, but they could find none occasion, no fault, for as much as he was faithful, neither was there any error or fault found in him. So they couldn't find anything, you know, to accuse accuse Daniel of. Right, because Daniel, he was walking in an excellent spirit, right? He has wisdom and knowledge, understanding, right? So that's how you want to be, right? You want to, you want somebody to remember you, right? And it's like, oh, that brother, it was no fault I could find in him, right? That brother always walking in an excellent spirit, right? From there, let's go to 1 Samuel chapter 1. 1 Samuel 18 and 5. 1 Samuel 18 and 5. This is the book of 1 Samuel, chapter 18 and verse 5. And it reads, and David went out wheresoever Saul sent him, and he behaved himself wisely, and Saul set him over the men of war, and he was accepted in the sight of all the people, and also in the sight of Saul's servant. So you want to walk like Daniel, like David walked, right? They said David. It said David. He behaved himself wisely. So when you amongst other brothers and sisters, right, or amongst people, right, you want to behave yourself wisely, right? You want to walk with wisdom, right, knowledge and understanding of how to act when you out, when you're out and about, right? So you want to carry yourself like you had some knowledge or something like that, right? You don't want to be out there acting like a fool, getting drunk, pants sagging, having a bad report. So having something that people can talk bad about you, like, oh, that brother, it's like that brother, he was walking around yesterday, with a cup in his hand, spilling his cup. So, he was talking with slurs in his mouth. He was drunk, right? He was walking around with drunk, man. Toby 4:15 say, So that brother, you don't want to have a bad name, right? Or that brother was throwing up, he was passing out on the floor. I seen that brother sleeping on the ground, because he was tipsy. He was out of it. He was intoxicated or whatever, right? So you don't have a bad name, basically. So basically, when you out, you want to present yourself wisely, right? And people exalt you. Oh, that brother, he's smart. He walking in an excellent spirit. He behaved himself wisely. He ain't no fool, right? Let's get some more. This book of Acts. Put this thing. Acts chapter 22, verse 11. Book of Acts chapter 22, verse 11. It says, now this when Paul was speaking, right? It says, and when I could not see for the glory of that light, being led by the hand of them that were with me, I came to Damascus, right? It said, and one Ananias, right? So Ananias was one of the Yahushua disciples, right? It said, and one Ananias, a devout man according to the law, having a good report of all the Jews which dwelt there. So Ananias, he had a good report amongst all the Jews, right? So Ananias, he was walking in the spirit of an excellent spirit, always having a good report, right? Nothing that people can talk bad about him, like, oh, that brother, I heard he did this, or I heard he said this, right? So another example with Ananias, right? He had a good report. So you want brothers and sisters talk good about you, and say the same thing. Oh yeah, so and so had a good report. It's nothing I could find in her or him, that it did bad. Right? Let's go get some more. The book of Acts chapter 9 and verse 36. And it reads 9 and 36. It said, now there was at Joppa a certain disciple named Tabitha, which by interpretation is called Dorcas. This woman was full of good works. See that? Tabitha was she was full of good works, right? It said in alms deed which she did. So you want to be like, so sisters want to be like Tabitha, right? Full of good works and alms deeds, right? It said, and it came to pass in those days that she was sick and died, whom when they had washed, they laid her in an upper chamber, right? So when she got sick and died, they put her body to rest, like they gave her a nice burial because she was full of good reports, right? And good with all these, right? She was not no wicked woman, is always blabbing in her mouth, being clamorous, walking like a harlot, looking like a harlot. Tabitha had good reports, right? She was keeping the laws, she was dwelling amongst her sisters and brothers wisely, good with armed thieves. So you want to be like Tabitha's sisters and have good reports. Right from there, let's go to the book of First Kings chapter 10. Right? Let's go to King Solomon, and see how his name was amongst the nations and the and heathens, right? First Kings chapter 10 and verse 4. I thought verse 4. First Kings chapter 10 and verse 4, and it reads, and when the queen of Sheba had seen all Solomon's wisdom in the house that he had built, and the meat of his table, and the sitting of his servant, and the attendance of his ministers, and their apparel, and his cupbearers, and his ascent by which he went up into the house of the Lord, there was no more spirit in her. So Sheba, she was like, wow, Solomon, he's moving in the spirit. You see how he command his household moving in order. There's no defiled things, no fault I can say about this dude. It said there was no more spirit in her. I mean, she was so amazed, right? She was so amazed of she was so amazed of how Solomon was moving, right? How good of an excellent spirit he had, right? So we want to be like Solomon, right? You want to command your household, right, and having a good report. You want when people come into your house, right? When people come to your house, you want something. You want your guests be like, wow, man. When they left your house, it was nothing but good things. His house was clean. Uh, his family, it was all in the spirit. Everybody was walking according to the laws of the Most High. They was dwelling in wisdom, the Holy Spirit in them. You want people to have a good report when they enter to your house. Like, man, it was nothing I could say bad about that brother. He invited me as a guest, and I was excited being at this house. Right? I can't wait. I can't wait to go back again. Right? You don't want somebody. You don't want somebody to enter into your home and within 5 minutes they ready to leave. Like, bro, I can't stay here. This brother house dirty. His lady out of order. His children run around naked and up and down the steps. You don't want brothers, to say that to say something like that about you, right? Let's read on. Verse 6. It said, and she said to the king, it was a true report that I heard in my own land of thy acts and of thy wisdom. So Solomon's wisdom and how good his name was being presented amongst the heathens and other nations. She said she heard this in her own land, all the way in Ethiopia, right? So she heard that thing, and she went all up there to see was this thing was true. Right? What she heard about Solomon, was it true? So that's having a good name, that your name could be spread amongst the world, and people can notice you and realize of a good person you are, because you walking with an excellent spirit, like Daniel. You walking wisely amongst others, like David, right? Verse 7. It said, howbeit I believed not the words until I came, and my eyes has seen it. And behold, the half was not told me, thy wisdom and prosperity exceeding the fame which I heard. Right? It said on verse 8, happy are thy men, happy are these thy servant, which stand continually before thee, and that heard thy wisdom. So it's like, happy are the people in your household, your servant, the men that stand before you, because you walk with so much wisdom and so much respect, and having a good report that your servants is walking around in that same order, right? They walk around with a good spirit because you dwelling in a good spirit, right? So that's important. When you dwelling in a good spirit, that spirit can linger off to other brothers, and they walk in a good spirit, right? You might meet a brother, that had a bad day, right? And with you being around him and you walking wisely, you walking with an excellent spirit, and your countenance is shining, right? And that brother, it might uplift his spirit, because just being around you, right? Just being in your household and seeing how orderly it is, right? Or how your family's acting, how good your apparel is, stuff like that. That's having a good name, right? From there, let's go to Philippians chapter 2 and verse 13. Philippians 2 and 13. I lost Philippians. It's like it. Let me find it. Philippians chapter 2, verse 13. Oh, gotta be this way. Hold on, I'll get there. I got it. Philippians chapter 2 and verse 13. It said, for it is Yahweh which worketh in you, both to do will and to do of his good pleasure. So it is the Most High that is working in you to do his will and to do all the good pleasures, right? So it's the Most High thing. You give glory to the Most High that he gave you that wisdom, knowledge, and understanding to do his will and all his good pleasures, right? Verse 14, to do all things without murmuring and disputing, right? That he may be blameless and harmless, the sons of Yahweh without rebuke. So you want to be that person to walk around blameless, right? Without rebuke. Nothing can come up against you and say, oh, that brother got rebuked for something, whatever. right? So you want to walk around blameless and harmless, right? Read on. It said, in the midst of a crooked and perverse nation, among whom he shine as lights in the world. So you want to be walking around in this wicked and perverse nation, blameless, without any harmless, without, you want to walk around in this wicked and perverse nation, blameless and harmless, right? As the sons of the Most High, right? That's walking in order. Like in Deuteronomy 4 and 5, it said that you want to be walking around with so much wisdom that the other nations see that stuff, right? I'm just paraphrasing the scripture. Basically, yeah. So, you want to be walking around with so much wisdom and blameless, right? Sons of the Most High, right? I'm gonna read the last part again. It says, in the midst of a crooked and perverse nation, among whom he shine as lights in the world, right? And the shine as lights in the world, we know what the light represent. The lights represent the law, statutes, commandments, right? When according to Proverbs 6 and 23, right? It says shine as lights in the world, right? In Matthew, Yahweh Shai said the same thing. Let me get that real quick. Matthew chapter 5 and verse 16. Matthew 5 and 16. It said, let your light, let your lights, let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works, right? Your good works is your good things. Like Tabitha, she had good works, right? It said, let your light shine. Let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven. So you want people to look at you like that brother got good works. You walking in the spirit. All praise to the Most High for that brother. All right, that brother walked around in so much good things and good works. And you want to maintain them works, right? The works that the Most High give you, keeping the law, statutes, commandments, walking with the Holy Spirit, all wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Right, you want to maintain them good works, right? You want to be found blameless, like it said in Philippians. Right. From there, let's get to Titus chapter 2. The book of Titus. Titus chapter 2 and verse 7. I start verse 6. It said, young men, likewise, exhort to be sober-minded, right? To be sober-minded, right? It said, in all things showing thyself a good pattern of good slakia. It said, in all things showing thyself a pattern of good works. So you want to show yourself a pattern of good works, right? Not bad works where people can talk bad about you, but you want to show yourself having a pattern and nothing but good works, right? So people can talk good about you. Oh, yeah, I mean, our brother's filled with the spirit, and he always helping out our brother. Every time our brother is down, he's checking on our brother, mentioning our brother's all right, putting our brother back on his feet, helping our brother out, whatever. You see him out there feeding the homeless, helping the sick, whatever, right? Putting in that good work. I'm read that again, verse 7. It said, in all things showing thyself a pattern of good works and doctrine, showing uncorruptness, gravity, sincerity, right? So you want to be like that brother, right? Showing good works and a good doctrine. You want to be found, going into Islam, going to Egyptology, going to all these other nations. I'm sorry, religion, whatever, right? Christianity. You want to be found dipping and dabbing back and forth, right? So you want to be found in good sound doctrine, right? Showing uncorruptness, gravity, sincerity, right? Let's go to 3, Titus chapter 3, verse 8. Titus 3 and 8. It said, this is a faithful saying, and these days I will that thou affirm constantly, that they which have believed in Yahweh might be careful to maintain good works. Right? So it's those that believe in Yahweh, be carefully to maintain good works, right? To maintain them good works, you want to be carefully to do them things. Right? Said these days are good and profitable unto all men. Right? So those that, we just coming in this truth, right, and we repenting, right? So we know, right, we want to maintain to have the good works, right? Maintain all them good works, right? You got to show yourself an example to others, right? You want brothers to be, that can look up to you, right? And look up to you like, okay, that brother always putting in some good works. Let me hang on that brother, right? Let me just feed off his spirit and see how that brother is walking in the spirit, right? And let me just move like he moved, because he, it's nothing but good things I heard about him, right? And he got nothing but good works, right? Let's go to 1 Timothy chapter 4 and 12. 1 Timothy chapter 4 and verse 12. It reads, "Let no man despise thy youth, but be thou an example to other read it over again. It said, let no man despise thy youth, right? Be thou an example of the believers." So we got to be a example to others that believe, right, in this truth, right? Got to be an example to them, because they're gonna look up to you one day and like, oh, look, that brother, he was in the spirit. He always going out teaching, he's always out there, doing flyer missions, whatever, right? That brother always out doing good works. It said, "Be thou an example of the believers in word, in conversation, in charity, in spirit, in faith, and purity." So you want to be having all them good examples, I said, in word, right? In conversation, in charity, in spirit, in faith, and purity. So you want to be examples in all them things, right? All them things is having the good work, right? From there, let's go to the book of Judith. Judith, chapter 8 and 24. The book of Judith, chapter 8 and verse 24, and it reads, "Now therefore, O brethren, let us show an example of our brethren, that their hearts depend on us." Right? So you got to show an example to the younger brethren that just come into the truth, especially I'm talking about the ones that been in the truth for a long period of time, have many years in this truth. You got to show the example to the younger brothers that's just stepping in like 3 months or a month and a week. You got to show the example to the younger men, right? And the younger sisters, right? That just stepping in this truth. It said, "Now therefore, O brethren, let us show an example to our brethren, because their heart depend on us, in the sanctuary, in the house, and the altar rests upon us." Right? So you got to show yourself an example, right? So you got slack. So you got to show yourself an example to the younger generation that's coming into this truth, right? When I say younger generation, I'm just talking about the people that just waking up to the truth, right? So you got to show yourself to a good example to the younger people that just stepping in this truth, right? From there, let's go to 1 Thessalonians chapter 2. 1 Thessalonians chapter 2 and verse 9. 1 Thessalonians 2 and 9. It said, "For ye remember, brethren, our labor and travail, for laboring night and day, because we would not," it said, "because we would not be chargeable unto any of you. We preach unto you the gospel of Yahweh." Right? So it said we would not be chargeable to anything. So you want nobody to bring up any charges against you, any type of offense, right? You want to be blameless, right? To have anybody can't bring up no type of wicked report about you or nothing like that, right? Reading on. It say ye are witness, and Yahweh also, how holy and justly and unblameably we behave ourselves among you that believe. So look, that's a perfect example that you want to be holy, justly, and unblameably in your walks, in your life, in this truth, right? It said we behave ourselves among you that believe. So you want to walk, like that around others that also believe. Verse 11, it says, as ye know how we exhort and comforted and charge every one of you as a father do his children. Right? Verse 12, that he would walk worthy of Yahweh, who have called you unto his kingdom and glory. Right? So you want to walk worthy of Yahweh, right? You don't want to be found blame. Somebody can put up any type of blame, right? You want to be found, it's like you want to be found blameless and harmless, like as the scripture said, right? So you want nobody bring up any type of wicked report or anything bad about you, right? Let's go to 2 Thessalonians 3 and 7. The book of 2 Thessalonians chapter 3 and verse 7, and it reads, for yourself know how he ought to follow us, right? So it said, look, you know how to follow us because while we walking in a perfect example for you, right? It said, for yourself know how he ought to follow us, for we behave not ourselves disorderly among you, right? So you follow us because we walk in so much order that you look up to us and like that brother is walking in an excellent spirit, right? It said, because we walk not disorderly among you, neither did we eat any man, eat any man for naught, or wroth with labor, and travail night and day, that we might not be chargeable of any of you, right? So that we not be chargeable of any of you, right? So you don't want anybody bring up any charges, like I said before, right? Verse 9, it said, not because we have not power, but to make ourselves an example unto you to follow us. So we making ourselves an example to the younger people that's coming to the truth to follow us. Like, for example, let's go to 1 Corinthians 11 and 1. Right? That's how Paul moved. Paul said, be ye followers of me, even as I also am of Christ. So Paul was walking in orderly, right? He was walking blameless, harmless, because he know that he had a lot of people looking up to him, right? He had a lot of people looking up to Paul and say, look, that Paul, he's walking in the spirit, right? That man repented, and now he's in the truth, and he walking excellently and with an excellent spirit, right? He walking wisely amongst other people, right? There's no default or foul things we could say about Paul now, because that brother is teaching the word. He waking people up. He bringing in the Gentiles, the other Israelites, that was foreigners. He's bringing people back into the fold, and he's waking, he doing all the good works. So we want to have an excellent spirit, right? Because we are examples of Christ, right? When people look at us, they looking at Christ. How Christ moved, we got to move the same way, right? With no default or the guile found in us. From there, let's go to 2 Corinthians 6 and 3. 2 Corinthians. Dang it. It's like it. 2 Corinthians 6 and 3. Yeah. 2 Corinthians 6 and 3, it says, giving no offense in anything, that the ministry be not blamed. So you want to walk in so much orderly that you don't want people to talk bad about the ministry, right? The things that you're bringing out, how we going out to teach, and how we present ourselves as a body. You don't want people to say, well, them brothers, they walking foul. They like, I saw them brothers stealing. I saw them brothers. Well, you're going to have brothers, you're going to have people bringing up false accusation against us. But at the end of the day, those things ain't going to stand because it's not true, right? So you want to walk with no offense that your ministry cannot be blamed, right? From there, let's go to book of Acts chapter 24 and verse 16. It says, Acts chapter 24 and verse 16, it said, and herein do I exercise myself to always have a conscious void of offense towards Yahweh and towards men. So you want to have a conscious void of offense towards Yahweh and towards the men. So we want to walk with nothing. Nobody can blame you. Yahweh can't blame you for anything you did wrong, because you repented. You got all them things that you did wrong. You got all them things blotted out, right? And towards men, the same way. You want to have anybody bringing up anything bad about you, right? So you're gonna walk around with no conscious voice. So when you walk into a gathering, you're gonna have people talk good about you, right? You don't want to have people, when you walk into a gathering, with other Israelites, and you see everybody talking bad about you, like, oh, stay away from that brother. I done heard bad things about him, right? Let's get two more. Sirach chapter 11 and verse 15. Sirach chapter 11 and verse 15. It said, wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of the law are of the Lord. Love and the way of good works are from him. So wisdom, knowledge, understanding, all them things are nothing but good works. It's of the Lord. The love and the love and Slack it said, love and the way of good works are from him. So the Most High, he gives them good works to you. He gives you the knowledge. He gives you the wisdom how to walk accordingly to the word, right? How to walk. Just the Bible is teaches, especially you get a lot of wisdom in Sirach. Sirach teaches you how to deal with others. How to deal with friendships. How you act when you out and about. So Sirach teach you a lot. It's a lot of wisdom out of that. And Most High, he gives you wisdom, knowledge, understanding, so we can pick up on things and we could learn from them. All right, let's get one more. Let's go to second address. I put the pocket foot back away. Second address, chapter 8 and 33. Second address, chapter 8 and verse 33. It said, for the just which have many good works lay up with thee shall out of their own deeds receive reward. So your good works you're going to receive reward. For example, like King Solomon, he had his reward. All the good works and wisdom that he was giving out. People was bringing in a whole bunch of silver and gold. Giving him so much wealth for his wisdom, right? And Yahweh, he judges us, right? Yahweh is the ultimate judge, so he gives us our good reward, right? It may not be in his present life. It could have been, it could be in the kingdom. So your good works that you put in life, Yahweh is going to give you that righteous judgment for them, right? So with that, I'm gonna say Shalom. I hope that was edifying. I hope this was edifying. Having a good name is always a good thing, right? A good name lasts forever. So Shalom.